Alright, now what is the difference between the virtual machines, VMs, and the containers? Now the virtual machine is an emulation of a computer system. So simply, it makes it possible to run what appear to be many separate computers on hardware that is actually one computer. So you can see that here in the left diagram. This is the diagram for the VMs or the virtual machines. You can see that we have an infrastructure, which is the hardware, the specs we have, how many RAMs, how many CPU cores, and whatever. Then in top of it, we have the hypervisor. Now here actually the hypervisor is a software that creates and runs virtual machines. So the hypervisor allows one host computer to support multiple guest VMs by virtually sharing its resources, such as the memory or processing the number of CPU cores or whatever. So the hypervisor here let you create virtual machines, okay? Now as you can see here, each virtual machines, as you can see the whole green boxes, the whole orange boxes, and the whole red boxes as well. Now as you can see, each one of them have their own guest operating system with BinLabs and the app1. So the app1 is running on top of the guest operating system, a separate operating system on your own operating system, on your own infrastructure or on your own system. So in my case, I have Mac, as you can see. On top of it, I will have Ubuntu operating system, for example, and I will have my application running inside Ubuntu, and this Ubuntu is running inside Mac operating system. Alright? So the benefits actually of the virtual machines is that all OS resources available to apps. So all your resources, all my Mac resources are available to these apps because we have a separated guest operating system, and I can share the resources between this guest operating system and my operating system, which is Mac, using or through the hypervisor as we talked previously. And we can establish management tools, establish security tools, better for known security controls, and so on. As you know that they are separated actually. They have their own operating system. And some of the popular VM providers like the VMware, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, Xen, and so on. Okay? Now, on the other hand, what are the containers? Now, so instead of virtualizing the underlying computer, like the VMs, now we can just virtualize the operating system only. Okay? So containers sit on top of a physical server and its host operating system, like Linux or Windows. Each container shares the host operating system kernel and usually the binaries and libraries too. Okay, so sharing the operating system resources such as libraries significantly reduces the need to reproduce the operating system code. Okay, so here you can see on the diagram on the right here, the containers, we have the infrastructure, which is something we talked about, which is the hardware we have. We have on top of it the operating system, which is in my case the Mac operating system, as you can see, and on top of it, which is the container engine, which is Docker engine. Okay, which is Docker server client. Well, actually, it is more than that. We will have a separate lecture for the Docker engine. What is the difference between all of that? Don't worry. Okay, now on top of the Docker engine, we have the applications. As you can see, application 1, application 2, application 3. And here you can see that application 1 is running on top of the Bins library, its own operating system virtualization. Okay, so no operating system. So this is Ubuntu image, and we run container. We run our app on this container, and this is based on an Nginx image. We run our code or our application on this container, and so on for the application 3 actually. Okay, so the benefits actually of the containers, we can reduce the IT management resources. We can reduce size of snapshots, quick spinning up applications. Actually, it takes milliseconds to run a container. On the other hand, the virtual machine, it may take seconds or minutes actually. On the other hand, the virtual machines, it may take seconds or actually minutes to spin up. So also we have a reduced and simplified security updates, and we have less code to transfer, migrate, and upload workloads. And some of the popular containers actually like Ubuntu, Python, Nginx, CentOS, a lot of things. So actually for the uses for VMs versus containers, both the containers and VMs have benefits and drawbacks. So I'm not saying that containers is better or they are the best. No, actually it depends on your work actually or your criteria. So VMs are better choice for running apps that require all of the operating system's resources and functionality. So when you need to run multiple applications on servers or have a wide variety of operating systems to manage, so the VMs are better. But on the other hand, the containers are better choice when your biggest priority is maximizing the number of applications running on a minimum number of servers. Okay, so here is a brief difference between the VMs and the containers. So you can see the VMs is heavyweight. On the other hand, the containers is lightweight. The VMs limited performance, okay, as you share the host resources or your computer resources with these minimal virtual machines. So it is limited performance. So you have 16 gigabyte RAM and each one of these virtual machines has 2 giga RAM only. So it is a limited performance. On the other hand, the containers native performance, okay. The VMs, each VM runs on its own operating system, and we saw that. The containers, all containers share the host operating system. The VMs, it is a hardware level virtualization, but on the other hand, the containers is operating system level virtualization or OS. The VMs startup time is in a minute. It takes time until it is boot up or spin up. But on the other hand, the containers startup time in milliseconds because it's very lightweighted. The VMs allocate required memory, but on the other hand, the containers require less memory space. The VMs, finally, it is fully isolated and hence more security, but on the other hand, the containers, process level isolation, so possibly less secure. Well, actually, regarding the security, it's subjective, and actually, by the time it can be enhanced, it can be decreased, so the security subject exactly here is not accurate, alright? Okay, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next lecture.